I ain't never doing business with a black person. So there's a mistrust within ourselves. And we know this and we talk about it. When you mess me up, I don't do business with no other black person, ever.
I love when people have achieved something and then they go back and they lend a hand because when I was growing up, when people figured things out, they was just shutting their doors. I figured something out, I'm not letting anybody know.
We get upset and we're so mad and we're just boiling over because a white man gave us freedom and they gave us a boat to freedom that had a hole in it. And we're so upset that our boat has a hole in it that we're so focused on the outside saying, no, they gotta fix it. Meanwhile, we ignore the fact that all the resources to fix that hole is inside the boat. And we never look on the inside.
What would you say Cedric Nash is living proof of?
Yeah, I'm living proof that anyone, regardless of race, regardless of age, regardless of education, can build wealth starting from the bottom. If they're willing to put forth the effort, make the necessary sacrifice, live below their means, and begin investing from day one consistently over time, they will get there too.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? Listen, welcome to another episode of the Living Proof Podcast. Well, listen, we got somebody big. We got somebody with them big M's, you know what I mean? The millionaire mentor himself, y'all. Today is a treat because we get to learn, we get to go in his backstory, we get that education, and the biggest thing that we get to take from is the transformation, right? So today I want to welcome my guy, Mr. Cedric Nash, to the floor. How you feeling?
Hey, feeling good, man. Thanks for having me.
What's going on, man? How you feeling? You know what I mean? You looking good, looking fit. You got the t-shirt on, it's tight with the muscles. What's going on?
Yo, man, just taking it one day at a time.
One day at a time, man.
Yeah.
1 through 10 in this season, man. A journey of life be lifing, man. But how you feeling today? How you feeling right now?
I feel good, man. You know, I say every day is a holiday and every meal is a banquet. You follow me? So
that's how you know somebody got some money when he say every meal is cool, man. Let's take it back, Cedric, man. So where you from originally, man?
I'm originally from a little town called Seaside, California. So it's
California.
just, south of San Jose, south of San Francisco on the coast.
Okay.
Little black town of retired military types.
Okay.
Butted up against a little town called Carmel, Pebble Beach. I was born in Carmel. And Carmel and Pebble Beach is where the rich folks are. These are like the super rich folks from San Francisco. They have vacation homes down in Pebble Beach Golf Course and that region. So Seaside is a mostly retired military town. A lot of people from all over the country settled there at a military base, and then they loved the little city there like my dad, and we ended up settling there.
Got you. So you said Pebble Beach?
Yeah, Pebble Beach is like incredible. It's high end.
That's high end.
Super high end. Like, Charles Schwab has a house on like hole number 4 of Pebble Beach. It's just, Clint Eastwood was the mayor of Carmel. So it's really, really kind of a high end kind of a spot. Yeah,
Man,
the Bechtel family, the $1 billion Bechtel family has vacation homes there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always those little pockets, man, where people get to come up. Like, what was your childhood like, man? Those little pockets, I feel like y'all just get to lock in, right? Y'all really get to have a childhood. Like, growing up in a major city, you distracted by so many things.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. It wasn't a major city. Tourism was our community.
Okay.
So there's Cannery Row, there's Monterey. I went to high school in Monterey High School. It's really more of a quaint town. But people were very, very successful, but very, very peaceful and easy living. In Seaside, they were either retired military folks or civil servants that settled from all over. And what was cool about Seaside was that it was a tight black community. Not huge, but it was just a tight black community. We didn't lock our doors. Everybody knew each other.
Okay.
And it was just kind of a pleasant environment. Everybody kind of helped each other and was kind of there for one another.
Okay, so you said black community.
Yeah.
So this is a little tucked up place where we at.
Exactly, where we at.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So the people on that side thought this was the other side of the railroad tracks, and this was like the hood, but it wasn't necessarily hood. It was just black folks.
Just black folks.
Yeah, just black folks.
What's going on with that? Why do people think that us as black folks, we just got to be hood or ghetto? Like,
I know.
I just don't get it. Is our skin that's threatening? Is it our flavor?
It makes no sense. I think it makes no sense whatsoever. They kind of put us all into maybe they're just guilty. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're just feeling guilt,
right,
right, for the oppression that they've placed on our community.
I get that, man. So growing up, man, I heard you mention your pops.
Yeah.
All right, you had your moms.
I had my mom, my dad. My dad was, they were very involved in the church. We come from a church family.
Okay.
My dad built the church, so that's where I kind of got my taste for construction and building. he built the church. He wasn't a general contractor. He just knew how to build. And my mom was very involved in the church, but my dad was also the local parole officer. So any of the knuckleheads I went to high school with or whatever that got into trouble and went to prison came back, and my dad would look after them. But he was a good parole officer. They loved him. By the time he had to send them back to jail, they were like, all right, Mr. Nash, come on and lock me up. Because I know, because he was just very compassionate and would give them chances time and time and time again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, the success now, the M's, like you say, everything that, I see, I caught you outside, I see you pulling up in big boy whips and all that, right? But of course, when we were kids, we had big dreams and aspirations.
Yes.
What was that for you?
Yeah, what's interesting, I had the privilege, and I always talk about this everywhere I go. If you hear me on a podcast, you will hear me talk about my 4 original millionaire mentors, right? So, Al Glover, Gus Martin, Mr. Gilbert Bruce, and Robert Taylor. 2 of them were in the community that I grew up with, and Gus would travel in and out. So these guys shaped my mind. They own businesses. Like Mr. Glover, and I'm an alpha. I pledged alpha. Mr. Glover was an alpha.
Okay.
And so the Alfred brothers pooled money together, built an apartment building with laundromats in there. Mr. Glover spearheaded that. He built a lot of the houses up in the hills. So the black folks who had some money lived in the hills, and he built up that whole region and sold houses to a lot of people in the community. So, Mr. Glover was the man, but he was low key, right? And he just died recently, probably about 2 or 3 months ago. He just died at 94. But, just very inspirational. He was always there, always available to answer questions too. And my dad was never intimidated by their success. My dad was relatively successful, but not as successful as these guys were. So he would allow me to be mentored from people. And for some reason, I was just really inspired by those guys because, they own businesses. They own apartment houses. They own banks. Mr. Glover started a bank. He owned his own office building.
Oh, he was different.
Oh, yeah. He was different.
You talking about a legend right there. He was different.
He was a legend. He really believed in pouring back to young people in the community. And so when I went to college, I'll never forget, I was, he had his daughter, who was my sister's best friend, said, tell Cedric to come up. I want to talk to him. So I came up to him one day, and he was watering the grass. He didn't have sprinklers at the time. He was just out there watering the grass, and he says, hey, I hear you're about to go away to college. I said, yes, sir, I'm about to. And he was a man of few words. And he'd said stuff like, well, if you need anything, we're here for you, right? I got your back. That's all he said.
So he called you up just to say that?
He called me up just to say that.
Okay.
And that was really about it. And so I went away to college, and, I got an Alpha Phi Alpha scholarship. He made sure I got a scholarship. And when I got commissioned as an officer in the military, he drove all the way down and swore me in because he was a retired lieutenant colonel. My dad was a sergeant major.
Okay.
Signed me up. So we just always had that kind of relationship. And I would always go visit him and check on him. And when I'd be buying too many whips, too many cars, he'd say very few words. He says, you need to stop buying all those cars and start buying more real estate. Stuff like that, right? He was that kind of a guy. But he knew that I was kind of the guy that was going to listen to him and follow up. And those are the things I did. So I was mimicking what they were doing because that's who I was exposed to.
Right. Cedric, where that discipline come from, right? Because as we're young, for some reason, we think, I know for me, right, we feel like, oh, we got to figure it out. I got this. Mm-hmm. Or I don't need to, I don't know about, your generation, but for some reason, we thought that, oh, nah, we cool. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. Where did that discipline come to say, let me listen to somebody who has already done it? Already been there.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
early on, even though he's successful, but it's still a generational disconnect. Oh, check this out. I know you've been watching this episode, and listen, I know it's been going crazy, right? But I had to stop the episode real quick because I'm here to tell you, like, I don't know if you see me in a different space, but I don't know if you really know that I'm the #1 person in America that's teaching people how to take their vehicle and go make money. Like, the first thing I do is I teach you how to get on delivery apps. That way you have money on your phone. The second thing I do is I teach you how to get local delivery contracts right in your city, right in your county, right in your state. And then the third thing I teach you how to do is go ahead and subcontract. So now you can go ahead and get national contracts, sub them out, not physically doing the work. So I'm telling you right now, I got a link below. I'm having a class this week. It will be 100% free because you are watching this. I need you to go check it out. It is right below, www www.careermasterclass.com. Listen, I need you to go ahead and register because I'm telling you right now, my classes always fill up and I got a free slot just for you. So go ahead to www.careermasterclass.com. I see you in class. Let's get it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's different now. It's like I have sons, like I said, and I tell my sons that the reason why I believe that I'm successful is because I listen to my father, I listen to my mentors. Every time they give me some advice to do something, I tried it. Young men today feel like they've got it figured out. So when they connect with an OG like myself that's giving them advice that they may not like or they may not agree with, they won't even try it. And so that's the difficult thing. And in some ways, they don't even want that mentorship because they feel like, oh, you're disconnected. You don't understand how the world works today. Well, the reality is, guys, and I talk about this. I was on Jamal Bryant's podcast just 2 or 3 days ago. I'm saying wealth building in the future is going to be different than my generation. I'm on the tail end of the baby boomers. And so things were different. They were less complicated. Now with technology, things are complicated. Now it takes access to capital in a big way to do and to make big moves. It takes people coming together. I was just in the barbershop, and they were talking about how the Lakers were just sold by a group for about $12 billion.
Right.
Mike Eichner, who comes from Disney, pulled the group together to buy the Lakers, right? It's like, it's a different thing. And so we as a community, why I'm so passionate about, Black wealth and about educating our community, we got to find ways to kind of work together and stop this division and this competition because we're going nowhere.
You said something interesting. You said it's harder today,
more
complicated today,
more complicated today.
Even with AI. You think? I feel like
today. I love that question.
I feel like today we can anything that we think of, we can get it out there. We can get it to a computer, and they can kind of tell us, hey, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
I love this because my degree's in computer science.
Okay,
and so that's my background. So it's easy to write software. It's easy to find a problem and use software to create the solution. What's hard is adoption. It's hard to get people to use it, to get scale, to get growth. That's super hard. It's crazy hard. And so, while technology is a lot easier, what happens is you're finding that a lot of the big tech companies they're dominating adoption. For example, it's easy to create a platform equivalent to Meta or even another Amazon. Other people have done it. They've tried to do it to create, buy black, we buy black. They can't get adoption in wide scale. Very, very difficult. And so that's where the difficult part is. It's not in the solution, it's in the adoption. Really, really hard.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's hard to get the masses to move and get them to use something different, right?
Yeah, exactly. Very, very difficult. And like I said, if I was to sit down with Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, those would be my 2 questions. It's like, how did you, create, Meta back in the dorms or Facebook at the time? And how did you know you're going to get adoption? One of the things he did what was brilliant was that he used universities, right? So at the time when Facebook first came out, he had almost access to every graduate at all these universities. So you can connect to people and start that connection going. But it's just that adoption. And then now, we're creating podcasts and doing those things, which is still a good money maker, but we're using their platforms, right? The platforms are making the money.
Yeah.
If you look at music, the platforms are making the money. It's the Apple's platform. It's the Tidal platform. It's all these different platforms that we're creating content on. They're the ones making the money and they're giving us a portion. The question is, how do you create a platform?
Right.
Difficult.
Yeah, and then get people to use that platform.
And then get people to use it.
It's very difficult, right?
Yes.
As I'm building out an app right now in the courier industry, and that's one of the struggles that I have. So when you just gave me some game without giving me some game, I didn't realize the strategy, right? Because Facebook is a little bit older than me. I remember when it came out. I think it's exclusivity and the universities. Because when I was coming up, I couldn't get on Facebook because I wasn't old enough. Right. I think when it first launched, it was for college kids. Right. So now it's like, I'm thinking like, all right, well, how can I get some exclusivity that makes people want to say, well, why can't I get in?
Yeah.
Right. That makes people wait at the door. and then who can I partner with that has a
Exactly.
massive audience?
Yeah.
And I think that's how you get adoption. You just hold on, you got to cut it
But
out.
but that's really what people should be thinking.
For
It's
sure.
Like I have a friend. She's trying to create an app for landlords and for tenants.
Okay.
And they don't like my advice sometimes. Like I said, because I'm real tough about it. I think real deep about it. And so a lot of times we want to create things, and sometimes we haven't identified a deep enough problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is this a problem that really needs to be solved? And it's tricky because I don't know everything, and I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a difficult it's a difficult question to answer. Is this a real problem? Is this a real pain point? Are people willing to put money for it? You know, and does it really solve a big enough piece of a problem? Is somebody else out there kind of doing it?
Right.
Is that problem being solved? For example, I can't really tell her idea because she'd be upset if she heard this, but the whole point is I've asked those tough questions, and it's related to real estate and commercial real estate. Because I'm a landlord, I'm like, I don't know if we have that problem, and that problem solved this way. And that's one thing that's kind of troubling when you mentor young people. Your mentors are not going to always be right, but the whole point is get the data. Because I'm like, I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Go get the data. Do some research. You know, do some surveys. Identify how big this problem is for landlords. If you could do that, now you've convinced me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't do the research, you can't do it just off the top of your head, off of your gut feeling.
Right. Just because you want to create something, or just
because you think it's a problem. You've
Right.
got to validate it with data, right? And the good part is that, you know, we can do that, but sometimes you have to pay a marketing firm to do deep research. And even when they do it, there's no guarantee that it's going to be right. But you at least want to know, and at least be able to talk to your target audience with data saying, hey, this is what the data says, and it could be right or it could be wrong.
right, man. Let's take it back to when Mr. Glover said, "Cedric, stop buying the cars, man."
Yeah.
What was you doing, man?
Oh, shoot, man.
Hold on,
I
bro.
bought an AMG S55 for $103,000. I talk about it in my book.
Hold on, Seth. What's
back
that?
in the day.
103,000. What year was this?
It was like 2002, man. And you're like, what was
Bro,
this?
hold on, now that's a lot of money
Yeah,
back then.
that was a lot of money back
What
then.
was you doing, man?
Well, I'm saying I just built a house from scratch. You know, built a house. I sold that house for over $2 million. But and I just furnished it. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go buy myself a nice whip. I already had a Range Rover, I had a Porsche. I love
Hold on,
cars.
Seth. You saying a lot, but you're not breaking it down.
Right.
When did you build this house? How much did you build it for?
So-
I heard you sold it for $2 million. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get the profit.
So
now.
let me just explain.
I'm trying to see what's going on.
When I was 32, right? When I started my business about 32. At that time, I bought a piece of land up in Oakland Hills, and I built a house because I was gonna buy a house. I was gonna move from Southern Cal to Northern Cal. I already had a house. I was married with my sons at the time.
All right,
And-
cool. We're going to stop right there. So 32, got you.
Yeah.
What was going on out of college? Because you met Mr. Glover. You went through college.
I went through college, met
Okay.
Mr. Glover,
Yep.
and then I was working for Deloitte and Ernst & Young doing IT work.
Okay, IT.
Yeah, and
When
then
you graduated.
when I graduated.
How much money was that back in the day?
Oh, my first job, $36,400 a year.
36,000
Yeah.
for.
And then I got my MBA from Pepperdine.
Okay.
Then I went to go work for Deloitte. They paid me $65,000 a year.
Okay,
Which
we kinda-
back then, 65 was the $100,000 mark. Like if you're making
yeah.
60, you're like you're good.
Yeah.
Back in that day, right?
Yeah.
That was the 100,000 mark. Right?
Yep,
That
yep.
was the six-figure mark.
Yep.
So then I went from 60 at Deloitte, and then I got a job at Ernst doing the same thing. They promoted me. I was up at 80,000.
Okay.
You know, plus bonus, probably maybe 90.
Okay.
And at the age, I'm like about 30, 31. I meet these German cats on a project. They know the system that we're specializing in, which is SAP. They know it cold, right? I knew it pretty well through training, but these dudes knew the back end like you wouldn't believe. So they were trying to create a company, or they started a company, and I wrote a business plan for them and joined them. And when I joined them, I was working with them as a partner before I started my business. While with them, at the time, I think my first year I made 300 grand with them. The second year I was on track to 600 grand.
Hold on, sir.
And that's
Hold on.
my-
How did you
that's-
join? Nah. How did you join? So yeah, we meeting each other. You
Right.
wrote the plan. They came to you and said, "Well, we need you on the team."
Well, what happened? No, this is what happened. And I wrote about this in my book because I have a chapter titled "How I Became a Millionaire by Age 32."
Yeah,
And what happened was-
everybody need this book because
Right, right.
you got some things in there that.
So what happened was I met these guys on a project, and they were killing it. Right,
Mm-hmm.
I was the manager, and we had to hire these outside consultants because they were experts in the system. And I knew it very well, but these guys were just extremely, because it's a German software product.
Okay.
I met these guys. We're going to dinner at night talking about the company they're forming. Me coming out of business school, I wrote a business plan for how they could take the business to another level. I flew to Germany on a weekend. I flew on a Wednesday night, called in sick, took a red eye, went to Wiesloch, Germany, and presented to the other partners, the other 6 partners. 3 were in California, 6 were in Germany. They loved my business plan, my vision. So I took the red eye, presented in the morning, went to dinner that night, and the next night I was on a plane back to California.
Okay.
From Germany, right? Presented it. They accepted me as a partner. A few months later, I leave Ernst & Young. At that time, everybody was really wanting me. I was getting a lot of offers over 6 digits at the time. And I joined them. I was 30 when I joined them. And we grew the business from they had 1 contract, and I was in there just writing proposals because I knew how to, working in consulting, I knew how to basically grow their business. So I was working the relationships with the software vendor, SAP. It was just an interesting time. And you couldn't know this software unless you either worked on a project or you worked at one of the consulting firms. So there was a very narrow window of talent that was out there. So I leveraged that. And then the partnership agreement I had with them later on, I realized was they were giving me inferior shares. So I had my attorney review it, and I couldn't sign the agreement. So I held off on signing the agreement for 2 years trying to figure out what I was going to do. And one day I fly back to my house in California with my wife and kids, and I get a letter from them saying that they took my shares away, thereby making me an employee. And I was pissed. I was like, wait a minute, I built you guys up.
Right.
I'm the one who put this together. It was me and another partner, Wolfgang, who had the juice to make this business go. So I said I couldn't do that. And that's when I launched my own business. So at that time, it was July 2000, or July 1997. I left them with $90,000 in startup cash. I was building a house at the time. At that time, I'd probably made $300,000 in the first year. I was on track to make $600,000 that year. And I started completely all over, just me out of my buddy's apartment while I was building a house up in Oakland Hills. So that's the story. Sorry to be so long-winded, but that's how it happened. But it was really the house plus starting my own business, connecting with one of my homies who got me on a project in New Jersey, and getting my own resources going under my own company that really catapulted the business.
Got you, man. Yeah.
And 30 years later, I'm still doing it. Yeah.
But it's a lot of gold in that, right?
Yeah.
Taking a chance.
Oh yeah.
Right. A lot of people, the excuse is, oh yeah, they may come to you, Cedric. They might want to learn real estate, right? What's the excuse? Well, I got a job. I can't show up.
Exactly.
Well, you got to call out.
Yep.
You got to catch the red eye.
Yep.
You got to sacrifice the sleep.
Yep.
You got to do these things in order to be great, because guess what? Your mentor that's teaching you that has done it.
Yeah. But the other part is you got to be confident enough to step out there. Now imagine I'm stepping out there. I got twin boys. My wife is pregnant with my 3rd son. I'm building a house. I'm starting a business. I mean, this is the most riskiest time, and God knows I was scared to death. And here I am traveling East Coast, West Coast, 3 days a week, coming back on the West Coast doing consulting, not knowing that any moment that they could pull the contract. And I'm like, and my wife's not working at the time.
Right.
So it's a very risky thing. And I just think that, it was scary. And the reality is when you do entrepreneurship, it is scary. But the reality is when you work for a company, it's scary. And the way I look at it is that the difference is that when you work for a company, the fear is in the background. And it only comes to the foreground when they start talking about layoffs and cuts and pink slips.
Or you look at that bank account and you don't have that money in there that they promise you every 2 weeks.
Well, they're talking about cutting. Now all of a sudden you're afraid. Other than that, you're comfortable.
Right.
When you're an entrepreneur, you know where the edge of that cliff is. So you're working your butt off to not get to close. So you're operating in fear every single day. I can't get to the edge of that cliff. So it's in the foreground, not the background. And that's really, really the difference. And you have to be comfortable with that. Some people can't get themselves to be comfortable with that. And it's not a comfortable feeling. And it took me a long time to kind of get to the point where you're at peace, right, with it. But it works. And it's the process that everybody goes through. And I say, whether you're black or white, entrepreneurship is hard for both. It's just harder for us, much harder for us. But it's still hard for everyone.
For sure, man. Yeah. I think so many people, they think about it, right? They like as we're sleeping, we have these aspirations. As we're laying in our bed, we got these goals. We about to go clock in for somebody else's dream, because in the reality of it, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
When you're working a job, you're working for somebody else's goals and dreams. They started that company, and you walk to that cliff, but the only way to be great is if you jump over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to jump, and you got to take your bumps, your bruises, your lumps to figure out and mold you to become the person to now wake up every day and say, I'm just not giving up.
This is the way I look at it. It's like, it's like when the moment you decide that you want to do something, the first thing that enters into your mind is doubt.
Absolutely.
Right? And then doubt invites fear to the party.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people that your courage has to be greater than the sum of your doubt and your fears, or else you'll never jump.
Mm-hmm.
And so that most people just don't have enough courage to get past that doubt and that fear. And so the best way to get past that and to build it is through research, is to it's almost like you're standing over the cliff saying, okay, I got to get to this level of speed. Okay, I'm going to drop X number of feet before I open my wings and start flying.
Right.
You get what I mean? You have to kind of assess the situation and have a game plan for how you're going to deal with the challenges or the uncertainties of that thing that you're trying to do. But invariably, you have to jump, and you have to be bold enough and confident enough to believe that you're going to figure it out. And so that's really, really what it is. Because I say this all the time, you could never know if a business idea is going to work or not. You could never know. All you got to do is believe in your ability to do something and get out there and be willing to pivot and to make adjustments until you win.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the key. And you're going to take some failures. You're going to make mistakes. Yeah. You can't be afraid to make a mistake because it only molds you to be better.
Yep.
So many people want to go through life and never have a down season, or you're going to go through your seasons. Accept them.
And it's a lonely feeling, though.
For sure.
Because at that time, my frat brothers in the Bay Area, they were working in tech in 2000. This is 2002, 2003 now. They're working in tech. They're getting all these stock options. They're like overnight millionaires. Mm-hmm. And here you are working on this little small business, right? And so you're the only one, and no one understands. And at the time, there weren't a lot of entrepreneurs doing what I was doing at the time. Most of them were working at tech companies and playing golf and having a great time and smoking cigars. And I'm trying to basically get this little business up.
Right.
But if you look at it today, I'm sitting back playing golf, smoking cigars, and I'm pretty much out the game. And some of them are having to reinvent their careers later on in life. Mm-hmm. So in hindsight, I'm glad I took that risk, and I'm glad I hung in there.
Do the hard things now so life can be easier later.
Yes.
For sure. So 1997, Oakland Consultant.
Yep.
Wife pregnant.
Yep.
You like, listen, that just happened. They took your stock options, so it forced you to start a company.
Yep.
Right? You got to realize it ain't happening to you, it happened for you.
Yep.
Because if it didn't, you might have still been under that.
Oh, now that had I taken that agreement, I would have signed a non-compete. And these guys were willing to sign because we had an agreement on me departing. And they were paying me $20,000 a month for all my deals, in perpetuity. But they stopped that shortly after. But by the time they stopped that, I didn't need it. My company was already up and running.
Right.
So they would have sued me for starting a business. There was no doubt in my mind that they would have sued me. We would have had to fight a non-compete, and it would have derailed me. But because I had no non-compete, they couldn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was this first project? What was out the gate?
My first project, my first consultant actually was this guy, David Ducray from South Africa. So I had a tip on a deal through IBM with a company called Lucent, where they needed a specialized consultant. And I happened to have this guy. And by that time, IBM says they wanted the guy. But then IBM decided not to do the deal with Lucent, and the deal was done. And so I called IBM and I said, hey, can you give me that Lucent contact who needed this person? And they were kind enough to give me the contact. And I was able to get Dave Ducray to work for Lucent Technologies. He worked for them for 4 or 5 years. I never met the guy until like 5 or 6 years later. So that was my first deal that I got. And it kind of made me feel like, okay, I can do this thing. But my bigger deal was through my boy John Short, who was a manager at IBM, who would bring me into IBM projects because they didn't have the resources. I would help manage those projects and be able to bring my resources in on those projects at Panasonic. And then from John, I met my big sister Sheila, who was a manager at Panasonic. And then she went to Nabisco. She went to Becton Dickinson. Everywhere she went, I was there getting consultants on assignment. So that's where it kind of like all kind of started.
God, crazy, man. So, and we gotta go back to this. The house that you sold for $2 million.
Yeah.
Break it down. I need to hear the numbers.
So
man.
I bought the land for $242,500.
Okay.
I bought the land for that, right?
How'd we buy this?
I put $90,000 down.
Okay, $90,000 down and
finance the rest of it.
Okay, cool.
And then it was interesting because I've always been a saver. So whenever I made good money, I always made sure I saved it. And I built the house because the houses that were for sale were like $700,000-800,000. I told my dad, I was like, man, these houses are expensive, but there's not much quality in them, nothing special about them.
Right.
And so he says, why don't you build it? Because he built the houses I was raised in. But the houses we were raised in, my dad may build them for a couple $100,000. They weren't like $7 or whatever, so $700,000 or $800,000. So I bought the land from this guy, and I went to go. I saw a house I liked, re-engineered the design. He helped me find a builder. The builder says, all right, take $1 million out, we'll build this house. I was like, $1 million? I'm 32 years old.
Right.
Like $1 million, like, oh no. So I told my dad that, who built our church, who's got experience building, and my dad said, let me call George, which was one of his parolees, who was a master builder, carpenter.
Okay.
He called George, and George was living in Salinas, and his son was in Oregon. And I was going through the plans with George, and I was telling George what the builder said. George was like, oh, no, that's crazy. Oh, no, you can't do that. So George said, this is what I'll do. He says, buy me a camper, put it up on the property, and me and my worker, I had a Hispanic worker, and my son and my grandson are going to come, and we're going to live in this little camper. We're going to build the house right on site. So we built this 4,800 square feet house with a 3-car garage in the hills with the view of all San Francisco. They built this house I took out a loan for $622,000 and built the entire house. $622 plus $242. I built that house. Sold it for $2,050,000 cash. The guy paid me cash. Dang. Now that house is worth about $3.8 million.
Hold on. What my producer? I need you. What's the math on that, man? This was what year?
This is I finished it in 1998, and I sold it in 2004. So, right? And it's funny part is my boy was like,
you cleared over $1 million.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cash. Wired money.
Over $1.3 million. Yeah.
Sheesh.
But it's funny is one of my boys.
First deal?
Huh?
First house?
No, that was my second house I did. I bought my first condo right out of college, saving money as a consultant. I went right into a condo.
But this is like the first big project.
First big project. I went from there to like a house I paid $285 for, sold that house for $310, and then I bought the land, and my ex-wife was still in the house down in Pasadena. Should have kept that house. That house is worth about $2 million, a little 1,500 square foot house. Beautiful neighborhood. Oh, yeah. It's worth $2 million. Incredible. 8,000 square foot land, had a pool, 1,500 or 1,700 square foot house. Detached garage is it's worth $2 million. Should have kept that one and rented it, right? Because I didn't need the money into the new house. I was just a little nervous, and I sold it.
Right.
But the point is that the new house, beautiful house. I mean, it's like they kept every design that I put into that house, and my boy was. I remember we were having a dinner party with some friends, and my boy Lloyd Face was like, Cedric, man, I can't believe you're going to sell this house. He says, man, you'll never be able to move in this house. He said, I can't believe you sold this house. I said, well, Lord, I'm moving on to bigger and better things. That was when I was about to move here to Maryland to do government contracting. And so I laugh at it today because I can go write a check for that house right now if I wanted it. You follow me? I can write a check for it.
The
whole point is like, I knew what I was doing.
Right.
And if you look, the house went up from what, 2 million to 3.8. So it's like 1.8 million more, right? Over what? How many years is that? From 2004 to 2026?
Yeah.
That's like 24 years,
right?
So basically, it doubled. The stock market grew 500% from 2007 to 2022. Right. So the whole point is that I could have made that return over and over again, right?
Good God Almighty, man! Cleared over $1 million on a real estate deal. You got me wanting to do real estate, man.
Right.
You got me. We need to figure this out. I need to throw my coins in. We
real
got
estate
to
and stock. Real
we
estate
got to
and
figure
stock.
this out, man. So now you went from doing deal after deal. What made you say, "Hey, listen, I want to open up and start teaching our community this"?
Like I said, one of my mentors, Gilbert Bruce, inspired me to read.
Okay.
And so he did so not by saying you need to read more. He did so because my last year in college, I decided to live in his basement.
Okay.
Right? He had sold his old motel that he owned, and he bought a 13-unit apartment building, and he bought a house in a nice little white neighborhood, and him and Mrs. Bruce had a little apartment downstairs. So I got turned on to him. I was like, I want to learn from this man, right? This guy's interesting, right? I want to learn from him. I decided my frat brother wanted to move in with me when my roommate left. I said, if Paul moves in with me, man, he could never graduate. We party too much, right? So I said, I'm going to go live with Mr. Bruce. Best decision I made. So when I lived with Mr. Bruce, I say a day in the life with Mr. Bruce is you wake up before I go to school and say goodbye to Mrs. Bruce and him. He'd be in the bed smoking a cigarette in one hand. He'd have the Wall Street Journal in this hand. He'd have CNBC on TV, right, talking about stocks and what's going on. And he'd have Money Talk Radio going on. All this going on while smoking a cigarette, just laying in the bed when I go say goodbye to him. And you go to his kitchen table and you see stacks and stacks of stock certificates. Because back in the day when you bought stocks, they would actually give you a piece of paper when you bought it because it wasn't as technological as it is today. So that's what he was. And so he'd have Fortune magazine there. So I just started reading books, man. The first book I read was How to Be Your Own Stockbroker by Charles Schwab. Read another book titled The Magic of Thinking Big. And I just started reading these books in my last 2 years of college. And I saw a gap between what those books were teaching, which they taught a lot, and how do you start from the bottom? How do you start, with just a paycheck? And so I knew back then that one day I was going to write that book because in my mind, I figured it out. I created a roadmap of basically how do you go from a paycheck to get to millions, basically. And really, that's what my book is. And that's why, the book title, Why Should White Guys Have All the Wealth? How You Can Become a Millionaire Starting from the Bottom. It comes from that reading and thinking about it. And even Rich Dad, Poor Dad, great conceptual book. But, you don't just come out and start buying multifamilies.
Right.
You got to start, how do you build up that initial capital? And I didn't get outside capital from a family or anybody. I built it up from deal after deal, from saving, and just want to inspire my community to do the same thing.
Absolutely. So if I'm in the community, I'm looking at it and I'm like, listen, Said, I'm trying to live your life. You just told me that if I wanted to, I could write a check to buy this house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to live like Said. I'm trying to be like Said. Where's my starting point? Where am I starting?
Right. Well, I think that, entrepreneurship has been key because creating a business that generates profit and then doing something responsible with that profit. I've always continued to invest in real estate because of my mentors or because I thought it was a great place to put money away.
Right. Let me ask you this. Do you think we got to get in the weeds as a person? Maybe somebody like, hey, listen, I'm working and I got this extra money. Do I got to get in the weeds? Do I got to learn the skill set? Or can I dump somewhere? Like, where can I start?
Well, there's different ways. I mean, like, in my book, I have this investment ladder of if you're starting from nothing, and it kind of says as your income capital builds up, where you can invest in. So one of the mistakes I think I made, which I wish I would have done sooner, is I should have invested in the market. I wish I would have dug in and read more about investing in the market. Because by the time I read and learned more about it, I always dibbled and dabbled. I wasn't in it as big as I should have. I should have been doing it coming right out of college. And we all should be doing that.
Right.
A lot of us say, well, I don't know enough. Well, one of the problems is we don't read enough, right? I was reading,
good.
dude. You don't hear me. We don't read. We want to listen to a podcast, and the podcasts are great and inspirational, and they'll drop a few tidbits, but you got to get into the details. And I don't do audiobooks. I read because there's stuff that I read years ago that's still inside my mind. It's still inside my head. Because when you read it, you imagine it. It creates pictures in your head, and it creates relationships with things that make sense to you. And so that's how you retain it. So I just think that we've got to go back to, reading and, even though I know people don't like to read, I'm still writing books for people who really, really want to read and put action to, put ideas to action. But the whole point is that, yeah, you could start, putting money I invest in a syndication. I'm part of a syndication. We have 14,000 apartments, right? I'm in 8 deals. I don't manage those deals. I get a 7% preferred return on the front end. So annualized 7%. And then on the back end, I'm supposed to get another 7% annualized. So by the time I'm done, I should average about 15% on average. But every deal doesn't work out that way.
Right.
That's why you're in multiple deals. So the whole point is I don't have to deal with management or deal with the issues of the property, refinance, making payments. I do nothing. I just give up my cash to the syndicate, and then I get my reports on a regular basis. So there's that way. You can invest in REITs, real estate investment trusts, that does kind of similar things. There's so many different ways of doing it, and I just think that we've got to get busy doing it. I own my own properties, and I'm invested in properties with other investors. And I like getting my hands dirty and actually managing the properties. I have my own management team, and we manage all of my properties.
Man.
Yeah.
Why should white guys have all the wealth? And when we got this black brother breaking it down and made a book for us to really understand.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So you telling me in that book, you telling me as my income, where I'm at, you're giving me things to invest in,
Exactly.
things to do.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think that, stock market's amazing. A lot of times we get excited about stuff after it's gone up really high. And then we think like, oh, it's too late. Well, if you look at the stock market for the past 150 years, it's grown about 9.38%. If you look at that chart from like the 50s all the way to today, you're going to find a few dips, but what you'll see is a steady climb. Mm-hmm. And you'll see the big dip of the 1930s of the Great Depression, which probably lasts like maybe 2 to 3 years.
Right.
But people think like, oh my God, it was horrible. People lost everything. But look how well it's returned. Then you'll see the Great Recession in 2007, where it dropped. That lasts about 15 to 18 months. But it felt like it was the end of the world.
Right.
And a lot of people basically run from these things. So I just think that you have to we overcomplicate investing. And there's a lot of resources that are available to us. We don't have to, pay people to teach us to trade. We don't have to do that. Traders lose. If you look at the statistics, long-term investors outperform traders all day. But meanwhile, because we're in a state of desperation and we want to do it quickly, we sign up in somebody's program that's going to teach us to trade. And the reality is traders lose because there's a lot of emotional challenges in their decision on, do I buy now? Do I sell? Do I buy? Do I sell? And then even after you sell, if you made a grip, you got to pay capital gains tax because it's short-term capital gains tax, which is equal to income taxes. So over time, traders just don't work, right? If you don't believe me, just listen to Buffett. He's not a trader. He's a long-term investor and one of the most successful out there. So we just have to take our time, relax, and build wealth over time and not get overly hyped about the fact that we're starting from behind, right? And just believe that in the future we'll get there.
Black Wealth Summit, man. Where did this come about, man?
Yeah, I mean,
you had a couple M's in the bank before you started that, huh?
Well, it was really about.
You ain't gonna answer that, huh?
It was really about, like I said, it was a way to, how it happened was I own a condo in Miami, in South Beach, and it's in the one hotel building. So I was coming from the rooftop, and I come down, and I see all this stuff happening in the lobby, and I see these people signing people up, and I'm a little tipsy, and I'm joking around. I said, "Well, what's going on here?" And the lady says, "Oh, we're having a little wealth summit here." I said, "So why wasn't I invited? I got a little coins,
Right.
I was just joking around with her. And she says, "Well, that's for some of our specialized customers and stuff like that." I was like, "Oh, wow, that's interesting." So I started walking down towards my condo and I started Googling this wealth summit. Realized that Prince Andrew and his wife was paid, or not Prince, Prince Andrew and his wife was paid, Prince Harry and his wife was paid $250,000 to speak. You keep looking, say, "Oh, wow, Magic's coming to speak." You look around, you say, "Oh, wow, Robert Smith is here to speak." Then all of a sudden you say, "Oh, wow, A-Rod is here," right? And then you look deeper and deeper and you find out that they had rented the entire one hotel for their super high net wealth investors, the billionaires. So there were billionaires coming to this conference. And so I was sitting there thinking, wow, this is amazing that they're going to get the super wealthy people in the country and they're going to bring them into the room and put them onto game about investment opportunities and where they should be. I said, well, how come there's nothing out there for us like this?
Right.
And so that's why I came up with the idea of creating a Black Wealth Summit and wanting to kind of like educate our own people and try to get us moving in the right direction.
Man, that's super dope. Wow.
Yeah.
Just by
So
seeing
you got to
it.
come and be a part of it this year, man.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Let me know. My
Or
phone
next
is
year,
always
27.
my phone is always open. I'm ready when you call.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm ready when you call, man. So super dope, man.
And bring your
And
community out because we've got to learn together.
yeah, I mean that's one thing I do. I realized as I got older, I'm 35 now. Like we need
man,
a
you're young.
community.
Yes.
We need each other. Not only just to learn the tips, the tips and the tricks, but hey, listen, maybe today I might not be feeling good.
Yep.
Maybe business might not be good. Maybe I'm missing a piece in community. Somebody can connect me with somebody.
Yes.
Somebody can add their expertise to what I got going on and take it to the next level.
Exactly.
So many people want to own 100% of a grape,
Right.
but 10% of a watermelon is a lot bigger.
Especially if you can own 10% of 100 watermelons. You know what I'm saying?
So for sure. So like, and as I grow and evolve, it's like we can't do anything without community.
And the other part is we got to learn how to pull our capital together and work together.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke at InvestFest last year, and when I closed out, that was my talking point, is that, you know, we're the only community that gets rich by ourselves.
What are we doing though? What's the problem? I feel like as a black community, it's like it got to be the one.
The problem
I gotta shine. I gotta be the one that everybody looks at.
The problem is, I love this. The problem is that this is a response to the widespread trauma that have never been treated. And what I mean by that is that I've given a speech before talking about the financial trauma that we've experienced since slavery. I go down the entire list of all the trauma that we've experienced, and it continues even with this Orange Jesus and this administration that's in creating more trauma for the black community. Black women losing jobs, black businesses, black farmers losing funding, all these things creating more trauma. Mm-hmm. And so it's our response to trauma. It's how we're responding to this untreated trauma that has us in the position that we are. And part of that response is mistrust. Mm-hmm. Right? So there's a mistrust within ourselves. And we know this and we talk about it. And so the whole point is that we know it's there and it's hard for us to break past it because every single time we try, somebody does us wrong. You follow me?
Absolutely.
They do us wrong. And when they do us wrong, they set us back. And we constantly say, and you've heard this before, I ain't never doing business with a black person. And the whole point is that I got to respond to this in a story, and I'll come back to it because I went to court with a Jewish guy up in New Jersey because they were shaking us down for crack paint or whatever. And I asked him a question, young 25-year-old guy, how many properties you got? He said, we got 7 buildings here. I said, wow, where do you get your capital from? He said, I get it from the synagogue. Yeah, there are various people that have deals and they present it to members of the synagogue and they put money into these deals and they create these syndications.
Got you.
And I said, well, have ever anybody done anyone wrong in these deals? He says, yes. I said, how do you guys respond? He says, we just don't do business with him. That don't mean we don't do business with us. So the point is that with us in our community, when you mess me up, I don't do business with no other black person ever, right? And so in my opening at the Black Wealth Summit is like I tell them that we have to take an all black agenda. We have to have Project Black, where we're gonna go black no matter what, right? And I say we're gonna go black first, even if it hurts. Black first until it works. The whole point is that we have to keep trying and trying again. This whole partnership among each other is a new thing for us, right? And so we can't just quit because the reality is we're all we got. The good news is we're all we need. And the whole point is we have to learn how to pull our capital together, find the ones that we can work with, right? Start small. And when you find the ones you can't work with, move aside. And I'm not just talking because I just left my barber who's got over a $5 million net worth, who I've funded hard money deals for some of his flip deals. And he's paid me every single time. He's always done what he was supposed to do. There's been never any BS. He started a salon studio, got in, probably more capital than he thought he needed. So I decided to partner in with him, 50-50 on this deal, right? So the whole point is that these are the kind of relationships and the deals we have to form. And I trust him because he has been honorable, right? Yeah, not everybody's been honorable, but that doesn't stop me from basically working with people that I believe that will be honorable, and we're making money together. That's the path. And that's the path within our community. because we're not going to get capital from the majority. I mean, you know the numbers, less than 1% of black businesses get capital from a venture capital.
Absolutely.
So the whole point is that we have to find ways to bring our financial resources together to kind of build our own community. And I've been saying this lately on a podcast too, is that we get upset and we're so mad and we're just boiling over because a white man gave us freedom and they gave us a boat to freedom that had a hole in it. And we're so upset that our boat has a hole in it that we're so focused on the outside saying, no, they got to fix it. I'm not doing anything to come fix it. You know, we're focusing on the problems on the outside. Look, we're taking water in. Meanwhile, we ignore the fact that all the resources to fix that hole is inside the boat. And we never look on the inside. And you say, well, what are you talking about? I'm talking about that $2.1 trillion of spending power that we have. That if we can flip that over to 25% of investment power, what kind of returns we can create. We have to change our mindset about these things and start working on the solutions despite the problems. And like I said, we're going to run into problems. We're going to run into people that we can't trust. We just can't do business with them.
1,000%, man. We definitely got to be on board. We definitely got to get there, man. I know some people right now, like I said, man, I done heard this story. You know, you definitely living proof, man. You can see it on you. You know what I mean? You can see it in you.
Yeah.
All right. And they like, how can I get what you said? Maybe I need somebody because my mom didn't do it. My dad didn't do it. Nobody under this family tree knows information. They stuck on, well, we didn't get this or we were suppressed and things have changed. We have opportunities now. We just got to take them. Yeah, nobody going to give them to them. Nobody going to come here and knock on the front door and say, here you go.
Exactly.
We got to get out there and take them. And people want to get what, you know, somebody like you said, how can they get what you?
Well, I have a mentorship program, right?
Okay.
And the proceeds of the mentorship program goes 100% to the Black Wealth Summit. I personally don't take a dime from it. It costs $350 a year. That's it. Cheapest program you're going to find out there. And it's a mentorship program that's a year-long program designed to help you build wealth. But at the same time, that's the only time that I have to commit to the community. But I bring in speakers about every single topic you can imagine. And they connect with people in the room. And these are responsible people that are not taking advantage of people. And we talk about these things and we develop strategies for them. The objective of this community is get people to grow their wealth, and we actually track it. So I give them the spreadsheet to document it. When they get started, we measure it every quarter. And at the end of the year, my promise is your net worth will be greater than it was at the beginning of the year. And so they start understanding the mechanics of building wealth over time. The sad part is we want it to happen faster than it really can. You can't make it happen faster. If you look at the S&P 500 that's growing at 9.38%, I mean, you ain't going to double your money every year.
Right.
We've got to be reasonable about this. But if you don't get started, if we fail to start, we start to fail. And then we don't allow compounding and those things to kind of happen. So that's how I mentor now. I get calls all the time. Hey, can we do one-on-one? Can I pay? I don't charge people for that. The reality is that I could basically take people's money and nothing's going to change. Change happens over time when it comes to investing. It happens through consistency. That's why I would never take their money, because I want them to have a good outcome. And that outcome is going to come from their consistency and the effort and the sacrifices that they're willing to make.
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah. We got it. Listen, I love the title, man. They got to go get that.
Yes.
How in the world, what made you, that's a bold title.
Yes.
What made you say, hey, listen, this is it?
It is a bold title, and it's funny in some ways.
I need you to say it proudly and bold, man.
Right.
Say that. I need to hear the title.
Why should white guys have all the wealth? How you can become a millionaire starting from the bottom. The reality is white guys don't have to have all the wealth. We can have wealth too. And the book is not about black versus white.
Okay.
It's about the fact that 84% of wealth in this country is in white households, and just 4% is in black households. It's about teaching African Americans how to build wealth despite the odd. And I kind of lifted the title from a book by Reginald Lewis titled "Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?" which was a book about his $1 billion rise to owning a $1 billion company in TLC Beatrice Food. Reginald Lewis is right up here from Baltimore. He's no longer living, but incredible book, very inspiring. And when I was, on a rant talking to a friend, I was like, black people act like only white people should be getting wealthy. And that's when I started playing around with the title, saying, wow, that sounds like an interesting title. And I landed on that and stuck with it.
Man, I love it. It's definitely going to stick with me. Where can they find that?
Oh, they can find it at Amazon.com. They can go to my website at cedricnash.com. and click on books, and they'll see that, as well as my other book, Millionaire Money Moves Supplemental Investment Guide, which is my investment strategy around how to build wealth, investing in stocks, real estate, private equity, as well as entrepreneurship.
I love it, man. Listen, Seb, today has been absolutely amazing talking with you.
Thank you, man.
So many insights and so many ways and so much strength and so much overcoming. And you know what I mean? Like, I love when people have achieved something and then they go back and they lend a hand. Because when I was growing up to be reality, when people figured things out, they was just shutting their doors.
Mm-hmm.
They was like, listen, it's me. I don't want you to get in. I don't want you to bother me. I don't want you to try to compete with me. I figured something out. I'm not letting anybody know. So when we can come here and say, hey, listen, I've opened up a program, right?
Yeah.
That can help you.
Exactly.
Because I talk to the youth all the time. I say, what do you want to do? They say, Dayron, I want to be a millionaire. I said, well, which college is going to teach you that?
Right. Yeah.
Which one?
None of them.
None. Yeah. So you better start getting you some mentors who are at that millionaire level to come back and teach you and give you real strategies and real game and pull you up the ladder. Because at the end of the day, no college is going to teach you how to be a millionaire.
Nope.
Right? It doesn't happen.
It doesn't work that way.
It's not in their marketing. That's not what they promote. And the statistics, when you come and have that degree, I don't know what that number is, but I'm sure it's not a lot of millionaires.
Oh yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, he dropped out?
He dropped out of Harvard. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And made it happen. So, man.
Yeah. So we just got to come together, work together, as a community, fight the good fight. Like I said, it's our solution. I saw this brother that said this. I could never remember his name. I love this brother. He's out of Atlanta. I heard him say this, and I love this, that black love is our revolution. And that really is true. It's like, learning how to love in our own community, learning how to respect our own community, whether or not it's through romantic relationships or through business relationships or friendships. Learning how to respect that and not compete with one another, and learning how to build together. Mm-hmm. And it's just sad because, like I said, our African brothers, we all have our issues and our challenges, but they come to the United States and they figure it out and they kind of work together and they're building stuff.
For sure.
We can do it too. We just got to believe it. We've just got to, like I said, work with those who we can work with. The ones we can't, they just have to be left on the side.
That's just what it is, man. One last question before I get you out of here, Ced. What would you say Cedric Nash is living proof of?
Yeah, I'm living proof that anyone, regardless of race, regardless of age, regardless of education, can build wealth starting from the bottom. If they're willing to put forth the effort, make the necessary sacrifice, live below their means, and begin investing from day one consistently over time, they will get there too.
Man, I love it, man. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they say, hey, listen, Ced, you killed this episode, man. You dropped it. Hey, listen, maybe they tried the real estate. Maybe they tried it on their own. It's just not working out, and they just need your more expertise. But where can they find you online?
They can find me at Millionaire Money Moves is my social media handle. They can find me at cedricnash.com. My mentorship group is called the Black Wealth Growth Challenge. I'm going to challenge you to grow wealth, and I will mentor you through that process. And it's a long journey. You're not going to get rich overnight. It's going to take you 7 or more years to get there. But if you're consistent, we can get you there.
That's good, man. My brother, I appreciate
Thank
y'all.
you.
Listen, I need y'all to definitely tap in when we have special guests come through, people who are living proof of achieving success and wealth. Y'all definitely need to tap in because this is how you're going to build it. When somebody can send an elevator down, I suggest you get on it and ride it to the top, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Let's go.